Hey artists, welcome to your self-motivated project. This is just a quick explanation to help you be successful and to understand the expectations as we move forward with this project. So, your project, this means you own it, it's yours. There are some guidelines though that you need to follow, minimal though they be. So, first of all, you're going to do 2 of these per 9 weeks. They're test grades, so take them seriously. They can only be school appropriate. That goes without saying, but I'm still saying it. Save your resources. We'll talk about this more later. Save your sketches. We'll also talk about that a little more. You can change your mind, but just keep in mind how much time you've spent investing in this project already, doing research, sketches, whatever it may be. And then you have to decide, is it a good idea to change my mind at this point? Am I going to get done? So you're going to follow this artistic process for these projects. This is basically a real artistic process, and that's why I've laid it out this way, to give you a sense of what it's like in the real world when you work through a project on your own. Okay, so you're going to come up with a title. A title gives you a basic idea of what you're going to do. It can change along the way. It probably will change. It helps you keep focused. It helps you think through what you want to do. And it's just fun. It helps you own your project. The content, what are you going to draw or paint or sculpt or whatever? You got to think about it before you start. The more you think about it, the better your project's going to be. Think about the individual parts. This is at this point, even as you're planning, you might want to do some quick sketches just to do a messy layout. See what's going to work, see what's not going to work, see what's missing, see what you need to include. It'll help you think of new things as you sketch things out and include more or maybe less to make your project better. What type and medium of things are you going to do for your artwork? Are you going to draw, paint, sculpt? Are you going to do a collage? Are you going to do printmaking, digital art, paper cutting? Or a combination of those things? Are you going to use paper, canvas, fabric, acrylic, watercolor, oil paints, colored pencils, markers, pencil, ink, charcoal, you name it? What are you going to use? You've got to make that decision at some point. This also may change as you're working through. You may decide to add marker at the end. You might want to outline everything you've painted, and that's all fine. This whole process is fluid. It changes as you go. But it's a good idea to have some thought at the beginning to start with your plan. What feelings and expressions do you want your artwork to have? You got to ask yourself, what do you want? What are you trying to express? What is it that you're trying to get across to your audience? What do you want your viewers to feel when they look at your artwork? These are important questions to ask yourself because it'll help you shape and mold your art. What kind of goals are you going to set for yourself? It's really good to set goals for yourself as an artist. If you don't, you're not going to grow in the areas that you'd like to grow in. For instance, if you're afraid of a certain medium, like say watercolor, but you'd really like to be good at it, if you never challenge yourself to use it, you're never going to get good at it. So you've got to challenge your skills and knowledge. You've got to ask yourself what you want to learn, and you've got to ask yourself what you want to accomplish with your works of art. So set goals for yourself. Research. Artists don't work from a vacuum. We get our ideas from somewhere, whether that's images or ideas or imagination. All of those things work together for us to build our works of art. There's a misconception that artists have it all bundled up in our heads and we know exactly how everything looks and we can just spew it out from our imagination without looking at any references. And that is total baloney. We need references, and you are going to make an effort to do some research and save your resources, whatever they may be, whether that's books, passages from books, images you find on the internet, images you find in the encyclopedia. Wherever you're looking, I want you to do your best to save those images. It's really easy nowadays. You take a shot of it with your phone. It takes just a second. And you can save those images. You could create a Pinterest board and save all of your stuff to that Pinterest board. You could use Google Drive. You could use a file folder on your computer. Or if you want to put it in your hands, you can use a real file folder, a notebook, your sketchbook. All of those things are good resources. So what about sketching? As you work, there's probably things that you're going to struggle with as an artist and how you want to draw them or even how to draw them. Hands, for instance, and feet, if you're drawing people, are always difficult. Faces, we tend to mess up as we're working through them. They never just quite look right the first time. And what helps is if you draw them first on a separate piece of paper, get yourself comfortable with whether it's the position of the hand or the expression of the face, or whether it's a tree in the background that you want to make sure it looks the right way. You've got to work at doing it before you put it in your final drawing, because if you don't, what happens sometimes is you try to redraw it so many times that you can't even erase anymore, and it just destroys your final work of art. So let me highly recommend do sketches on a separate piece of paper first, and then save those. You'll take pictures of them, and at the end, when you upload your final work of art, you're going to upload these sketches too, and it becomes part of your grade. If you follow this plan and work through this artistic process, your artwork is going to be better. It's going to be better thought out. It's going to be better drawn, better painted, better sculpted. It's how real artists work. I'm trying to give you a taste of how it works in the real world. Nobody ever told me this. It's something I discovered by working in the real world myself. This is the process that most artists use. If you don't follow this plan, your work and your grade are going to suffer for it. If you just try to jump right in and start working without doing any research, any sketches, thinking through what you want to do, your art, you might, hit a 1 in a million and make a good work of art, but more than likely it's not going to be what you wanted it to be, and you're just going to be disappointed. So work through the process, and the outcome it's well worth it.